The most famous national flag with a tree on it, because let's face it, Belize isn't renowned for it, and Norfolk Islands isn't really a national flag, and Canada, well, that's just a leaf. So both those last two were pointless examples. Anyway, I'm in Beirut for Lebanon's flags in 50 places.
The current design was adopted on the 7th of December 1943 with its simple main design of red and white, where both colours take 50% each of the body. White for the snow and as a symbol of purity and peace, the red for bloodshed to preserve the country against successive invaders. However, what we really want to look at is the complicated bit in the middle, the cedar tree. The green cedar, called the Lebanon cedar, grows commonly in the mountains, hence it appears on the country's national flag. And I was lucky enough to travel into the stunning landscape of the mountains just outside Beirut, where the cedars grow naturally. Not as common as before, but they are there, dotted around the lavish green landscape. Now, I'd just like to take this moment to state that when we got to Beirut in Lebanon, our luggage didn't actually arrive with us. In fact, our luggage didn't turn up until we got to the airport to leave Lebanon, which obviously is very handy, which means that we didn't manage to do as much filming as I wanted to. However, I did get this cap. Now the cap does have the national emblem, which is the cedar tree on there with a version of the flag on the front, a bit of the country itself, and various Lebanon words included as well. So I was rather pleased to get this on the side as well and in Arabic. Anyway, back to the point, back to the flag. First reports of a flag in this region date back to 3000 BC with this simple bicolour during the Phoenician era, which was replaced by this test card style by the Tancara people in 200 AD. During this period there was the Achaemenid Empire, the Romans, the Sasanians, the Byzantine, but they weren't really regional flags in the sense until this rather depressing Abbasid Caliphate brought this to the area, while the Umayyads went for this complete opposite. And for good measure, let's throw in the Kingdom of Jerusalem around 1100 AD, so as not to leave them out either. At the same time, in other parts of today's Lebanon, the flag of the Married Emirate brought this, which was used the same colours as today. However, this was replaced in 1697 by the Chehab Emirate flag. While I was there, I came across these abandoned sea breaks near the coast, but hadn't actually quite made it to the sea. Made for an impressive diversion on my travels anyway. Back to the topic. We can't leave out the Moloch Sultanate either in various parts, so as you can see, no real progress of a flag development, not until after the Ottomans' fall in 1918, and then suddenly this familiar sight appears for the first time. However, just 2 years later, the French arrived and butchered their flag to incorporate the cedar tree, and then went to have various colour versions throughout the period.
So Beirut, and probably Lebanon as a whole, is probably the only places that you're going to get a mosque and a church side by side.
As stated, Lebanon finally gained its own independence from France and all of its previous owners in 1943. The flag appears in all guises, from the national airline, duty-free, their airport services, on public phones, mosaics and even wrapping paper. The coat of arms is based on this flag in its own version, and I do have a thing for the vertical version as well, where the tree stays standing upright, and rightly so. There are many bicolour flags in the world, like Spain, Austria or Latvia, but I do have a soft spot for Lebanon for daring to be a little different to the norm and having such a localised symbol at the heart of its design. If you want to know where this flag comes from, well, check out the description below, and for more flags in 50 places, you're going to need to click on the playlist over here. Bon voyage!